It changes very, very quickly. Just six months or a year, and you have already new trends. The things that I will show today are more popular, very popular items in Japan. Okay? My English is okay, because normally I speak always Japanese, not English. When there is something that you don't understand, please ask me. Okay? We will have 2 hours, I suppose. So we will finish at least at 5:30. And during the demonstrations, we will give you also some tastings. And at the end of the demonstration, there will be a presentation table where you can take pictures. And we will give also the last tastings at the end of the demo. Okay? You have, okay, they are bringing also new recipes now. Okay. And I wait a little bit. I will show you today, I will talk today about fresh cakes in Japan. I will show you one baked cake. I will show one chocolate product that's very popular at Valentine. And I show you one chocolate application, also very popular in the Valentine period. And let's start with the fresh cake. The fresh cake is amber abricot, the first recipe that you received. We have 6 applications on just 2 hours, so I go very, very quickly. We jump. When there is something that you don't understand, just ask. Well, the first time that I'm in Turkey, and during this week, I visit a few shops, pastry shops, and because I don't know the Turkish market. And when I went in the shops, it's a totally different world than Japan. We visit a few very beautiful shops in Istanbul, but the cakes that I saw in Istanbul and the cakes that we are making in Japan, it's day and night. It doesn't mean it's good or bad. I just want to say it's a total different world. This? It's ancient. Totally different cakes, and you have also in Turkey very big sizes of the cakes, I think. So the first cake that I will show, it's a recipe that I show during my demonstrations in Japan, and a recipe that Japanese people like very much. In Japan, when we make fresh cakes, namagashi, then the size of the fresh cake for one person is mostly, for the Turkish people, will be maybe very small size, okay? And the cake that I will make today is a combination of abricot, orange, and amber chocolate. Amber chocolate is a caramel chocolate from Belcolade, and it goes very well with abricot and orange. I will prepare first the molds, the silicone molds. So inside the molds, I will pipe a sauce from abricot and orange. This time I use the abricot Viva Fil from Puratos. I mix it with orange juice to make it much more softer. We add vanilla, and this one we will pipe in the molds. It's on the second page, abricot sauce. I pipe, it's about 12 gram puree in the molds, and this one we will put in the shock freezer. So my friend from today, Volkan, you put this one in the shock freezer. Okay. And now we will make the interior of the cake. The interior of the cake, we're using a hazelnut dacquoise. It's on the first page, first recipe. It's a hazelnut sponge. So to gain time, we make everything beforehand. It's a scratch recipe, and it's hazelnut dacquoise. So hazelnuts powder, there are also eggs inside. At the end, you mix it with wiped meringue, and then we bake it on a plate 60-40. It's a very, very soft, not so sweet sponge. We cut it in circles of 5 centimeters. And on the top of the dacquoise, we will add a crunchy layer. For the crunchy layer, this one, it's not new. It's already, I think, 30 years that the feuilletine that it exists. So I use feuilletine. I mix it with hazelnuts from praline from Puratos in Turkey. And normally, when you make a feuilletine layer in a cake, many chefs are adding milk chocolate to it. I don't add milk chocolate. I just add a little bit oil. When you add milk chocolate, it will become hard, and you lose a lot of the crispiness from the feuilletine. When you don't use milk chocolate, it will stay not soft, but soft. Okay. And when you eat it, compared with a recipe that's with milk chocolate, this one is much more crispy, much more crunchy. And I add oil to make it a little bit more easy to work with the filling. When you mix only praline and the feuilletine, it's quite very difficult to spread it with a palette knife. Adding a little bit oil make it much more easier. Okay. The recipe that I show you today, it's a recipe that I use in Japan, but in Japan we have total Puratos Japan and Puratos Turkey. We have totally different ingredients. So the recipe that I use originally in Japan is a little bit adapted to the products we have here in Turkey. Okay. Then we will spread. Today is a demo. I make just 4 cakes. When you do it in a company, I spread the praline filling on the plate, and after we cut it, or we do it with a water cutter, a machine. And normally we need to have 8 gram, I think. 8 gram from the croustillant for each person. I don't know the recipes in Turkey, but when we give recipes in Japan to customers, we go very in detail. Like 8 gram of this one. And then we will pipe. Okay, this one is okay. This one I need, don't need. We will pipe 8 gram caramel cream on the first page, second recipe, on top of it. The caramel cream, this is the recipe that I use in Japan. It's a caramel that we make by ourselves. In Puratos, Turkey, they have also very nice caramel already made that they sell in baskets. Deli caramel. So I use the deli caramel from Puratos, Turkey, and we pipe Today, to win time, I scale nothing, but normally we scale one piece, and then we try to add the same quantity on each piece. You can put this one in the shock freezer, please. Okay. This one. No, excuse me. The caramel is normally 5 gram. 5 gram. It's not on the recipe. Okay. Yes, 8 gram. Okay. So the interior is finished. We put it in the shock freezer, and now we will make chocolate mousse. When I make chocolate mousses in Japan, as you know, you can make chocolate mousse on many different ways. Anglaise, pâte à bombe, meringue base, ganache base. And Japanese people, the chefs, they like especially the Anglaise method. So for this recipe, we will make an Anglaise mousse. I think everyone knows Anglaise. First, we make the gelatin mass, water and gelatin. You can give me a few spoons, or? And in Japan, when they make a gelatin mass, most of the chefs is 1 part gelatin, 5 parts water. When I was in Belgium, I used 1/6 or 1/7 sometimes, but now in Japan, I use always this quantity. Then we add in a small bowl the milk. I use in Japan the silver one. Yes. In Japan, Japan is 170 bloom for silver. When I don't know, what do you use here? Okay. And normally it's then my recipe, you need to multiply with 0.8, I think. When your gelatin is a little bit stronger, so you need to use a little bit less gelatin. And then we add fresh cream. When I saw the fresh cream in Turkey, I was very surprised. I first thought that he made a mistake because it's very, very heavy, the cream that we had. And we will heat it together. The cream, the fresh creams, but also the vegetable creams in Japan are very, very, they have a lot of different kinds. and they are very, very nice. Okay. The chocolate, we will use amber chocolate from Belcolade. And we have Ayub from Puratos in the public. Maybe you can say something about the chocolate?
Yes, basically you said that the amber chocolate like a lot of flavors like caramel. Then we launched in Turkey 2 years ago.
Yes, it's the basic. It's a white chocolate. I think it's 28%. Yes, 28% cacao, the cocoa butter, and it's sweet white chocolate. So when I use white chocolate mousse in an anglaise, I don't add sugar to my anglaise. Normally, when you make an anglaise, you add milk, egg yolks, and sugar. The chocolate is already sweet enough. I don't want to add more sugar. So this time we make an anglaise only with egg yolks and the milk. Okay? It's an induction. Yes. 80 degrees. It's number 3, 4, 5? 3, 4. Okay. Thank you. And when you make an anglaise without the sugar, when you make an anglaise with sugar, the temperature of the anglaise is about 83 degrees, 84 degrees. When you make an anglaise without sugar, the temperature will be a little bit lower. Just take attention. You can heat it. With this quantity of cream and milk, we cannot melt all the chocolate. So we melt the chocolate drops already for a half with the microwave. So I melt the chocolate a little bit. And Echo, you make the anglaise. No, it will be a little bit lower. Normally anglaise is 83, about that. Now it will be a little bit lower. 80 degrees. When the recipe is very small, I never use a thermometer. We just look to the consistency of the anglaise. One more time? You're gonna cook it à la nappe? Yes, à la nappe. À la nappe or à la rose? And when I make an anglaise, I want always to be sure that when I put everything together, the chocolate is melted. Sometimes the chocolate is not melted, and then you put it in the microwave or bain-marie. There are egg yolks inside. When you put it in the microwave, it's a little bit dangerous to have small baked egg yolk. So to be sure, I always melt the chocolate further apart. It takes a long time. We go a little bit higher. Can melt the gelatin. The gelatin mass, when I have a big recipe, I put the gelatin mass in the anglaise. It will melt by itself. When the recipe is very small, like today, I will melt the gelatin mass separated to be sure that I don't have gelatin pieces in the chocolate mousse. Need to put a little bit higher. Okay. Some totally different. As a technical advisor, when I make recipes in Japan, I start always from zero, from the chocolate. And for chocolate mousses, I take always a lot of attention to the sweetness of the mousse. Okay, put everything inside. Do we have a hand blender? I will do. I put the gelatin mass. Okay. And this chocolate mousse, we will mix it with whipped cream. You can take the whipped cream. The recipe that we make today is 1/3. 1/3, okay, a small recipe. Okay, thank you. So we have the ganache and the whipped cream. When I make the ganache also for mousse, you can mix the ganache with the whisk, or you can mix it with a hand blender. Okay. Normally, in most of my recipes, I mix the ganache with a hand blender. Because when you mix it with the hand blender or with the whisk, the end result of the chocolate mousse will be, in most cases, a little bit different. With the whisk, the mousse will be a little bit more softer, a little bit less smooth. When you use a hand blender, the mousse will be a little bit smoother and a little bit faster. Both methods are okay, but just take attention, there is a difference. So when you make this recipe in the company or another chocolate mousse, do it always on the same way. A lot of air bubbles, no problem, we make a chocolate mousse. When we make a glaçage, I don't want to put air bubbles. Okay? Just but it's interesting to, when you never did the test by yourself, to do once a test with the whisk and the hand blender. And especially with dark chocolate mousses, you can see that there is a difference, the end result. Okay. Then we will mix the ganache and the cream together. But before I mix both together, I always check the temperature of the cream and the ganache. And the fresh cream, it's always the same temperature. We take from the fridge, we whisk it, and normally with a Kenwood, you take it from 5 degrees, you mix, and it will be about 10 degrees after mixing. Now it's 10 degrees. So this one is in the company almost always the same temperature. The temperature of the ganache will be different. Today it's maybe hot. The next time it will be a little bit colder. So we check always. And it's now it's 38 degrees. 38 degrees. Normally with this recipe, when I mix everything together, the finished mousse need to be at about 21, 22 degrees for this recipe. Depending on the recipe, on the chocolate that I use, and depending on how I will use the mousse, with the dropper or with the piping bag, the finished temperature of the mousse is always different. That's why in each recipe that we make, we write always the end temperature of the mousse inside the recipe. And yes. Yes. The temperature of the mousse can affect the texture, but also sometimes sometimes you want to use the mousse with a dropper, a liquid mousse. So to be sure that the mousse has a right consistency, I always use a thermometer. And the end result can be also a little bit different. Normally I never make mousses with the piping bag. I never fill silicone molds with the piping bag. There is a reason when the mousse is too hard, and when you cover it later with the glaçage, you have a risk that you have air bubbles coming from the mousse. So I prefer to work always with more liquid mousses. Okay? And the how calculate, so it's 38 plus 10, 48, and we divide by 2. Today we have two things. So after mixing, the mousse will be at 24 degrees today. Of course, when we mix in the cold bowl or in the hot bowl, it will 1 or 2 degrees different. Okay. But this is a method that I use before. Also, when I was working in a company, we did it always on this way. On this way, you are sure that each person in the company, when they make this recipe, the end result will be the same. Yes, I work in a lot of different companies, 11 companies before Puratos. And when we didn't use this method, I saw sometimes quite big mistakes. Okay? So the temperature can be different regarding the method and the chocolate. Just take attention that the temperature of the chocolate mousse is always below about 30 degrees. Where fresh cream will start to melt above 30 degrees, and then your volume of the mousse will decrease enormously, and you will have less cakes and much more heavy. Okay. We have 6 recipes today. Don't be afraid. The following 5 recipes are very easy recipes. Check one more time. The temperature is going down. Now it's 33 degrees and 11. So 33 plus 11, 44, 22 degrees. Okay, after mixing. And you can take the frozen interiors and the mold also with the abricot. In the company where I'm working now with Puratos, when we give demonstrations, the recipes are always very short, small. Before in a company with big gloves until here, and then I think in Le Cordon Bleu it's also a small recipe. Huh? And when I make chocolate mousses, I like to make always first a soft ganache, chocolate with the cream, and then mix it with the white cream. When you do it on this way, in the chocolate mousse, there will be never, you will never have a chocolate pieces, yes. When you make a chocolate mousse, warm chocolate, and you mix the warm chocolate immediately with cold cream, when you don't take attention, you can have in the mousse small chocolate pieces. So this method, making first a ganache, is much more safe and easily to make chocolate mousses. Okay. And check. Okay, it's 21.4. 21.6. You want to check or?
Yeah.
Okay. So before mixing my chocolate mousse, I know already that I will have this texture. And this one is the texture that you will have for this mousse. With the frozen abricot inside. And this one you put back. Okay. This one. Until now, it's okay. I just need to take attention for the time. In Japan, when I give demonstrations, the demonstrations are most for professional customers. It's mostly a 1 day from 9 until 5. And many times we talk just about one item. I give demonstrations 1 day, only glazes or only chocolate mousses. Because in Japan, the chefs, they like to know the details, yes. And it's very interesting because many chefs, they make recipes, but they don't know the balance of a glaçage or the balance of a chocolate mousse. And this kind of trainings are we giving a lot, in Japan. I don't know in Turkey how it's different maybe. It will be different, I think. Okay. It's frozen. We don't touch the mold. When we touch the mold, the silicone mold and the abricot will be separate, and the chocolate mousse will go in between the two. So we don't touch the mold. We pipe the mousse. Normally, I use a dropper. Okay, and normally for this one mold is 40 grams. And then we put the frozen hazelnut dacquoise, feuilletine, and the caramel. And we put it in the freezer. This one you can take. Where's the glaze? Inside.
Higher than the apricot layer.
The
dacquoise should be higher. Dacquoise layer should be a bit higher than the apricot layer.
One more time. I didn't. No, in English it's okay.
The hazelnut dacquoise layer, the cake, should be a bit higher than the apricot layer.
The hazelnut dacquoise is becoming a little bit higher than the silicone mold. Eh? Yes.
Evet, biraz
this recipe. But demo, you can use totally different molds for the recipe. So you can play with it. Huh? We will cover few mousses with the glaze, and for the glaze we use a glaze from Puratos, Turkey, and it's you can explain. Okay, with the big. You can take the silpat with the mousses. Okay. I use a glaze from Puratos, Turkey. 1 kilo glaze, and we add 150 gram water, and we heat the glaze with the microwave until about 40 degrees. It's a glaze that freeze thaw stable. So this one is the glaze. One kilo glaze, and we don't have the same glaze in Japan, so I ask to the technical advisors in Turkey, how many water do you add? It's 1 kilo glaze, and they add 150 gram water. And this kind of silicone molds, when the freezer is not cold enough, minus 18 degrees, it's a little bit difficult. So today we put it at minus 25 degrees, and then you can demold it very beautiful. And demolding is very important. When you cannot demold it beautiful, when there is a little bit mousse inside the mold, even after covering with the glaze, it will look dirty. So when you cover a mousse, take also always very attention when you demold the mousse. I don't know. Okay, this one can go back. The glaze has now, it's 44 degrees. And we will, it's not for the patisserie this one, but I will cover 3 cakes to add for the presentation table. They have a small place. You can clean all my small materials. The mousse is minus 25 degrees. So when you cover with the glaze will become after a few minutes white because it's cold. But after defrosting, the glaze will be brilliant. Okay. We keep it a few minutes like this one, and then we put it on a cake tray. Okay, just a little. Okay. And the decoration of this cake, I will do it at the end. Oh. Dangerous induction. Okay. Are there questions? No? This cake we made in small farines. Small farine, just to give you an idea. It's the same mousse, same dacquoise, same orangey abricot sauce. Of course, the quantities are a little bit different, but just a tasting to give you an idea about the combinations, okay? And we will give the tastings now, okay? Someone can help or? We put this one on the side and it's okay. Just to clean my, this one. Give it to him or to clean. When you have comments or questions, please let me know. And then we go to the next recipe. And now, from now on, the speed will be a little bit more quickly for each recipe. And did they receive the recipes? Can give it there now? He will clean it now. Okay. Okay, the next recipe is something totally different. Baked cakes. In the Japanese pastry shops, baked cakes are very, very important. I think in Turkey also. And Japanese chefs, this was a mold that I brought from Japan. Japanese chefs, they're using this kind of molds a lot. They don't use silicone molds. Baking in silicone molds or baking with this kind of stainless molds, it's totally different. And today I will show you a very easy recipe. It's a cacao pot. Do you have the recipe? Yes? It's a recipe that I show also in Japan, and that a lot of the chefs make a variation in their shop. And normally in Japan, I use 63% chocolate. But it's a chocolate they don't have in Puratos, Turkey. So this time we use the Noir Selection. Yes, 55%. I adapted the recipe a little bit less sugar, more chocolate. But the end result is also very fine. Echo? And the recipe, it's a very easy recipe to make. In a bowl, we add butter, soft butter, and sugar. Normally in Japan, I use sugar and trehalose. Do you know trehalose? Trehalose. It's a sugar that's common used in Japan. It's totally, compared with sugar, sweet. It's not sweetless, but it's almost sweetless. And it's a sugar that we use a lot in our applications to make the applications less sweet. Today I use only sugar. Yes. Yes, yes. And it's a trehalose. All the chefs are using it in Japan. It has good points, but there are also some minus points, like each product. One of the minus points is trehalose is a very bad, you can make very bad solution with water. So when you make a ganache with fresh cream, when you add too much trehalose, the trehalose will crystallize very quickly. So it's a sugar with nice points, but also some bad points. This recipe, we don't whip it. It's just mixing. So we don't want to make the dough light. Just mix the sugar and the butter. I don't know, the sugar. Oh, a question? Yes? Before it was made with from seaweeds. Before, now I think they made it from the beets. Yes, yes, beets like sugar. So today I use also just sugar. So the tastings you will have tastings. It's the recipe that you have. It's only with sugar. We add the melted chocolate, the Noir Selection from Belcolade, to the mixture of butter and sugar. I don't know, but the sugar in Turkey is quite big, eh? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. And I can, but in Japan also with this recipe, I can feel the sugar crystals. But the sugar crystals in Turkey are quite very big, I think. But it's not better. It's not better. After baking, it's okay. So we add the chocolate, and then we will add the fresh cream and eggs. No eggs. And the cake flour. Okay. Fresh cream, eggs at room temperature. And at the end, we will add the cake flour. Whole eggs, yes, whole eggs. And normally when you make a chocolate cake, you will use cocoa powder and not maybe a little bit chocolate. This recipe is only chocolate, and we don't even add cocoa powder. So when you taste this recipe, when you work with the very fruity chocolate, you will have a very fruity cake. Now today we're using the Noir Selection. When you taste the cake, you can taste really you have really the nice flavors also from the Noir Selection. Because we use only chocolate. And there is a lot of chocolate in the recipe. When it's cold in the winter, don't let it 1 hour on the table. It will become very hard. So after mixing, you pipe it immediately in the molds. When the dough, when it's too hot, you can put it in the microwave to make it again softer. So at the end, we add the flour. And we don't whip it. Okay, I take this one. Thank you. The molds, they need to be sprayed. I use the spray licks from Puratos. And this one we don't have in Japan, unfortunately. I will tell to my general manager. Just need to spray lightly. Today we don't bake. I just show one because we don't have the time to bake all the products. And this recipe is exactly just enough for 25 pieces. The baking, when you compare this one with the silicone molds, the end result, the baking, you can bake much more better your products with this kind of molds. Yes. It's totally different.
Also, you're making your baking. Yeah, you're going now to the Turkish baking. You make the baking in a metal form and not in a silicone mold. Yeah, in order to get an equal structure between your mold and the product.
In Europe, the silicone molds are quite very popular. And when you tell to European chefs, they don't believe that there is a difference. But once you see the difference, Madeleine or Financier with the silicone mold or with this one, it's totally different. You don't believe me? Okay, I think it's much more better. Good to know. Normally I bake it like this one, 180 degrees in a deck oven. Today we don't bake because we don't have the time. And after baking, this is a dough that it stay even. Yes. It goes just a little bit up, but stay even. Like this one, after baking, we demold immediately, and then we put something that we do a lot of the times. Can you see with the camera or? Okay. Dance cake.
Dance, like that is heavier.
Yes, this one is a heavy cake. This one we go for the heavy chocolate cake. Yes. And we put many times we put on the cookies or on cakes like this one with chocolate with the cold stamp. This time we use the stamp from Kakio Tres. Maybe the marketing you can explain very quickly, Sharon? tastings, kakio, the kakio pot, the tastings. Okay. Killing. This one we can handle it. Okay. Then we go to the next cake. You have the tastings at the end of the demo. I would like to know which cake did you like the most? I don't ask one by one, but by raising your hand. Just when you taste, think already. The next application that I will show is something, is a terrine au chocolat. French guys. You make also at the Cordon Bleu, I suppose, no? No? And in Valentine period, in each pastry shop in Japan, you can find the terrine au chocolat. Terrine au chocolat, it's a very soft cake. You take it from the fridge. You need to keep it in the fridge, and you cut slices, and then you eat it immediately. Okay? And terrine au chocolat normally has the shape of a terrine, a rectangle. Everywhere in Japan, when I go to the shops, it's always a rectangle. Okay. Now today I will make a terrine au chocolat in the shape of a kakio pot. It's much more interesting. Also, in Japan we use 73% chocolate, and with this shape we want to focus on the kokio flavor. And terrine au chocolat, it's a very easy recipe. You have the recipe? Yes? Okay. Okay, this one. It's, I have melted chocolate and butter in the bowl. And then we will add, in another bowl. In another bowl, we will mix the eggs with sugar. Normally in the basic recipe, there's a little bit more sugar. I use a 73% chocolate. Today I use a 55% chocolate. So I take a little bit of the sugar outside, because there's already a lot of sugar in the chocolate. Okay. Then we add water. Normally in a terrine au chocolat, it's they add milk or fresh cream. But this time we don't use fresh cream, we add water, because when you mix chocolate with fresh cream, or chocolate, or you make a ganache chocolate with water, the ganache made with water will taste much more, yes, the taste of the chocolate will be much more straighter. And sometimes, for ganache, you know, but sometimes you use the same idea in our other cakes. So in the terrine au chocolat, it's normally fresh cream. We don't use fresh cream, we use water, and the flavor of the chocolate will become much more stronger. And in this recipe, we are adding also a little bit cocoa butter, powder. Adding cocoa powder is just for the color of the terrine. When we use only chocolate, the color of the terrine is a little bit light. So you can say, okay, we add more chocolate to make it darker, but when we add more chocolate, the terrine will become faster. We don't want that. So just want to make a little bit darker, we put cocoa powder. We mix everything together. And this recipe, we use normally also the hand blender. We have it? So also one special thing in this recipe. Normally, when we use eggs in the recipe, we add the eggs always like this one. But on the egg yolk, you have a white thing. Yes. This is the only recipe that I don't want to put the white thing in the recipe. I don't know in Turkish. So for this recipe, this is the only recipe that I do it. We take the white thing off. You can sieve it or take it one by one off. Because when you don't do it, after in the terrine au chocolat, you will have a white point. I do it by hand, one by one. I don't do, I ask. Or you can sieve it. But it's the only recipe where I do this one. Other recipes, cake, so I don't care. And okay. Just keep this one. Right. And the terrine au chocolat, we mix it with the hand blender. Okay. Can you give me a spatula? You can clean a few spatulas, please. Okay, thank you. Okay. Welcome. Then we will bake it au bain-marie. And I show you just one mold. This is a silicone mold. One piece is 120 grams. Like this one. We put hot water, 2 centimeter hot water, and then we bake it au bain-marie in a deck oven at 110 degrees for 50 minutes. A terrine au chocolat, I explain because it's not a cake, an individual cake. Terrine au chocolat is a cake that you eat with the family together. So it's very heavy, and normally you cut slices and you give it to each person. So this one is not a cake for one person. You can eat maybe with 2 or 3 persons. Yes, when you eat tastings, you will see. Okay. We take, no, we take the frozen one.
Volkan.
And baking time is about 50 minutes.
Okay.
After baking, we let it cool down, and when it's cold, we put it in the freezer. Minus 20 degrees, it's okay. It's easy to demold. We show the spray, Noah. We show the spray, Noah. No, just this one. You're waiting on Vulcan? Volkin. He will take the molds from another freezer. I think the Terrino chocolate is typical, famous in Japan during Valentine. And the Japanese people, they like matcha and all the different teas. So the Terrino chocolate, you can find always. Also, they make it with white chocolate and then add matcha powder or hojicha, a different kinds of tea. Okay. It's now coming from at minus 20 degrees, you can demold very easily. Okay, you turn. And it keeps, it has a beautiful cocoa shape. Eh? Okay. Can demold everything. I will not do it normally. I will spray it with chocolate. Chocolate Noir Selection 1, cocoa butter 1, so 50-50. And in Puratos Turkey, they use this kind of spray gun. Well, it's quite okay. It was okay to spray it. I don't do it now because it will become very dirty. In Japan, when I spray chocolate, I use a stainless, no, not an airbrush, a stainless pistolet with, the point is 0.8 millimeter. Okay? And we made this before, so I will show you the end result. Looks like this after spraying. Like this. I spray, and when you spray chocolate on cakes, always try to spray it as thin as possible. And when you spray too thick, the chocolate will crack very easily from the application. So always as thin as possible. And with this application at the end, when I use the pistolet, I put a little bit less pressure, air pressure. And when you put less air pressure, you have the spots. With this one, it's a little bit difficult to make spots. So I use a brush and I give at the end a few spots on the cocoa pot. Okay, this one I don't need. Then with plastic chocolate, I make a little I don't know how to say in English, the head of a cocoa pot. The head? Yes? Oh, okay. Okay. So like this one. People want to take a picture. At the end, we will present everything. Eh? This tasting we give now or? No. Eh? Okay. This tasting we will give at the end of the demo. Okay? Something you know or you don't know in Turkey? Terrino chocolate? You don't know? Okay. This week I had two demonstrations for professional chefs. We showed the same applications. Timing was a little bit longer. And for the Torino chocolat, we had very nice comments from the Turkish chefs. Same for the baked cakes. Okay. Still three recipes to go. And the next recipe is, a chocolate cookie, yes. But I forget to melt the chocolate. Oh. You do the chocolate?
Those plastic chocolates, they're not edible, they're plastic.
Plastic chocolate is, no, it's a chocolate you can eat. We call it plastic chocolate. It's chocolate with glucose. Do you have the recipe? Okay, he will give you the recipe. And you speak with the Lord. The chocolate plastic, it's not plastic, it's a chocolate that you can eat, but we call it plastic chocolate. And he will give you the recipe with loud voice. How? When it's hard. It depends on the freezer. Normally, in a shock freezer, after the question is how long does it need to freeze? It depends on the freezer. In your freezer at home, it will take, I think, 1 night. But in a professional freezer, you can do it on 1 hour or yes. Okay. The recipe for the plastic chocolate, and you will explain it also? Okay. Busy. You explain?
She said.
Okay. I will explain the recipe for the. It's a dark chocolate, Noir Selection, 660 grams. You melt it. Then you make a syrup with water, 60 gram water, 190 gram glucose, 60 gram sugar, and 50 gram oil. So you heat the water and you put all the sugar, oil, and glucose inside the syrup. And then you put the syrup on the melted chocolate, and with a nice mixer, normally how to say? A RoboCoupe, yes, a RoboCoupe, for example. You mix it very well. After mixing, you put it in plastic wrap. You keep it 1 night, this one is important, at room temperature. Give it slowly the time to crystallize. And the next day, you can use it as a chocolate paste. And yes. And this one is a very nice recipe. And the taste is also very good, because you have many chocolate pastes with not better. This one is a nice chocolate paste. Salad oil, sunflower oil. And this, I think you can make the same recipe with white chocolate, same quantity. Let me go to the, it's okay? The next application, it's chocolate cookies. In Japan, we have traditional pastry and we have the modern pastry, the wagashi and the yogashi. And in the traditional Japanese pastry, we have cookies with a very specific texture. And the traditional chefs, they're doing also innovation. They try to innovate. So what are these traditional chefs are doing in the traditional recipes? They are using now also chocolate. And this recipe is a traditional recipe with for Japanese, a modern touch. Okay? And the basic recipe, it's butter, melted blanc sélection, the white chocolate from Belcolade. And we mix it with okay, and the chocolate will become hard because in the butter there's a little bit water. When you mix chocolate with water, they are not friends. The chocolate will become harder. You can see it. Chocolate is becoming hard. Then we will put milk powder, starch. This time we use cornstarch. My Japanese recipes, I use a special starch, kuzuneige, but it works also with cornstarch, and a little bit flour, just a little bit. This one is a basic recipe, and then we add sesame, matcha, freeze-dried strawberries. Japanese like strawberry. And today, for the Turkish people, I had pistachio. In Japan, I never did it with pistachio. I need to do it one time. And we mix it. And in the beginning, the dough will be very hard. Like like this one. It's very hard. And now we will keep mixing for a few minutes, and the dough will become liquid. Well, very soft. About? With the
Plastic chocolate. Do we add the syrup as hot into the dark chocolate?
yes, but it's not really hot. 45 degrees. You can put it hot, but you can put it also when it's already cold. Just, can you mix, Fabi?
Okay.
There. You explain to him. Can you repeat the question, please? Ah, okay, okay, okay. The cookie, we will mix it in another room. It takes a few minutes. And when it's okay, they will bring the dough to heat, and I will show it. Yes, yes. High speed. And this one is also a recipe. When we show it during demonstrations, the Japanese is something that the Japanese chefs like. The Turkish people, I don't know, because we have another culture. But that's interesting for me. This cookie will not work in Belgium. In my home country, it will not work. I know. But maybe in Turkey, I don't know. And when the dough is ready, we will pipe it in silicone molds. No, it's not a mooncake. This one? No, this one is a flour.
So why do you think they wouldn't work in Belgium?
Not work.
Why do you think it wouldn't work?
I don't think I'm sure, because it's not a texture that the people in Belgium like. That's for me. I work in different countries, so I know some things are people like, but in other countries they don't like it. It's culture. It's food culture. It's whipping. Okay. We have few minutes. It will take few minutes. We go to the next recipe. But I don't know if you have the recipe. Nama chocolates. No? You don't have? Okay. But I can give the recipe. Do you know Nama chocolates? No? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Nama chocolates. It's a very, very easy thing. It's this one is the most popular chocolate item on Valentine. Yes, it's like truffles. It's I will give you the recipe that we make today. It's a ganache with fresh cream. I will ask to Echo to write it, maybe. Fresh cream. You can write. I will. Fresh cream, 35% fresh cream is 340 gram. Glucose. It's almost the same. We just need to change the number. 60 gram. Glucose, 60 gram. Belcolade. Not Callebaut, Belcolade. It's true, eh? No. No? Noir Selection. Dus the dark chocolate, the 55%, is 200 gram. Milk chocolate, Les Selection, is 400 gram. Milk chocolate, Les Selection. And that's all. So normally you have 1 kilo.
Fresh cream, how many grams?
Fresh cream, 340 gram. You can write? Glucose, 60. Belgelade noir, 200. And the milk, 400. Yes. And he will write one more time. And you make a ganache. The two chocolates you put together, you melt with the microwave about half. The cream and the glucose you heat in a pan. You put on the chocolates. You mix with the hand blender. You pour it in a frame on a plastic sheet. And normally it's 1.2 millimeter thickness. And when you make normal ganaches, you don't put it in the fridge, the ganache. Nama chocolates, you put always in the fridge. Yes. And you can put them in the room temperature, but the crystallization will be different. So you put them in the frame, you put them in the fridge, and the next day or after a few hours, you cover with cacao powder and you cut in small cubes. And this, the concept of the Nama chocolate is you take it from the fridge, you know? Yes. You can explain maybe? You take.
It's very soft in texture, and they get melted so easily. So
yes.
You cannot really carry them from one place to another. You always have to keep them cold, or in the fridge, or in cold molds, maybe.
Yes.
And it's a very good gift.
Yes, yes, yes. And the most famous factory for Nama chocolates is Royce in the north of Japan. And they have a lot of different kinds of Nama chocolates. Many times with Nihonshu or Japanese sake inside. But also with strawberry, matcha. Ah, yes, yes. And it looks very easy. But the difficult is need to melt, but it also needs to still to be walkable. You need to.
You should be able to cut it.
In the production, not.
In texture, it should be super soft.
Yes, yes. So that's a little bit the tricky to find the right balance. Okay. 1 kilo. 1 kilo ganache is. It normally it's 1.2 centimeters. Well, it depends, of course, the shop. You can calculate. I think it's. I will calculate. It's one. This one is 1 kilo. Divide by 1.2. Oh, I think it's 29 on 29. 29 centimeter on 29 centimeter. About it.
How long they can keep this Nama chocolate?
Normally, to a company like Roche, they say it's in the packaging, 2-3 weeks after opening. Problem, you keep it in the fridge, so there is no problem for bacteria, or there's no problem. The only difficult is that it will dry out in the fridge. So when you need to have a packaging in, the best one is in plastic, that the ganache cannot dry out. Okay? Most easy recipe for today, and maybe also the most popular in Valentine. And do we have enough? I put few for the presentation. Oh, there's water on it. And the cookies, it's okay? Yep. Nama chocolate, nama means fresh. Fresh ganache. It's not a coated ganache. And like you mentioned, the best Nama chocolates are soft. Japanese people, when they eat, the first thing they think when they eat sweets, not too sweet. That's important. And the second thing is soft. When you have something that's not sweet and that's soft, you have already very nice comments. Okay, we will give this one. You can give it. And they put it in the boxes, and in the boxes they put always 2 or 3 sticks, bamboo sticks or plastic sticks to take the chocolates easily from the box. Come back to the cookies. And I think what timing we will be okay. Will be less than 2 hours. When you Google on your phone Nama chocolates, you will find a lot of the chocolate cookies are something special. I pipe. I think you can see it in the people who want to come when you cannot see it, they can come to the table. I want to see. So when I pipe, you see the dough is a little bit hard. Yes? For this mold, it depends the mold. And then to make it flat, I do just like this. And it melts. And then we bake it on this way in a normally convection oven, 100 degrees, yes? And it's very low. So after baking, the color will not change. You will have the same color. And we bake it for about 12 minutes. Yes, this is possible. It's possible. And you can also put them in a frame. You cut the small cubes or bars, and you bake the bars like this one. And they will, the shape will not change. Okay? And okay, we will give you a tasting of the cookies. This one is the Japanese. When they make this one, they play a little bit with the colors, with different colors, like the macarons. With this basic recipe, you can make easily many different colors, and then put in boxes also, like macarons, a red one, a green one, a blue one, I don't know. Yes. Okay. And then to finish, one more recipe. It's the roll cake. They have the recipe? Yes, okay. In Japan, we call it the Japanese roll cake. Some people say the Swiss roll cake. I don't know. But today I will talk about the Japanese roll cake. A Japanese roll cake is a very soft sponge cake with normally a fresh cream. So just two ingredients: the sponge, parts, the roll cake, and the cream. And today I will make. In Japan, for the sponge cake, we use scratch recipes. This time in Puratos, Turkey, they have a very beautiful mix for the sponge. So we make the sponge with the mix. And do we have a rolling pin or? Oh, it's okay. I use this one. I use this one.
Yes, don't beat me now.
Okay. Personally, the roll cake is not one of my favorites. For me, I like, but it's soft. Sponge is soft, and the cream is soft. Yes. Yes. For the tasting for today, we make a little variation. In Puratos, they have a lot of fruit fillings. This one is Viva Fill. It's just you take it from the basket and you can use it like this one. And the chocolate cream, okay. In Japan, there are a few, all the pastry shops are making the roll cakes, all of them. In Turkey also. But in Turkey, they call it Swiss roll, or yes, Swiss roll. It's not. For the cream?
No, chef, there is a...
You can explain with the...
Creme paticello.
And the chocolate cream is made with the Noir Selection from Belcolade. And Festipak. Okay. Festipak is vegetable cream, also from Puratos. But we use a Festipak without sugar. So for this cream, we made the ganache, Festipak, hachimitsu, how do you say in English? Honey? Honey? And chocolate. We made the cream yesterday. We put it one night in the fridge. And today, just before the demonstration, we whip the ganache up. Festipack is, you can, you give the terrine?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. You have a, okay, then you can clean it. In Japan, you have a few, maybe the most famous chef, Eskoyama. Do you know Eskoyama? You know? It's in Kobe. It's a shop very famous for the roll cakes also. The people are every day from in the morning in a row waiting for roll cakes. And he's making the sponge, baking. After baking, 10 minutes later, they put already the cream up and immediately in the shop. It's very, very nice roll cakes.
Chef, in the recipe, it's written 2 times of festival in the same amount. But we add once.
For the cream, you heat the first part of the festipack with the honey. You make a ganache with the chocolate. And at the end, you add the cold cream, the second part of the cream, to it, and then you blend it with the hand blender. Festipack is... You can heat also all the cream together with the honey, but personally, I prefer to divide the cream. When you add at the end the cold cream, the ganache will become much more quickly, the temperature will go down. Okay, and then
Do they need to rest this cream all night too, chef?
well, at least a few hours, yes. Okay. Okay. At least a few hours. And this tasting we will give, you can take at the end when we do the presentation, okay? We take all the cakes outside. It's almost 5:30, 2 hours. So I will start with the presentation table. No, this one not. Keep in a little bit in the fridge now. The cakes that we made today, the decoration is very simple. And normally for a roll cake, there is no decoration. In Japan, they put just the powder sugar, or a little bit cocoa powder, or some shops put the stamp, iron stamp. Today, can put this on. I will put on Monday. I had for the technical team for Puratos Japan 1 day chocolate decorations training. I brought some of the chocolate decorations to this place just to show. I don't show how to make, but just to present. And I will use for the roll cake. So it's the ganache. Okay, this one. Okay. Just the towels. Take the abricot. So the roll cake. And what do we miss? Ah, and abricot. 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 Okay, this one we don't need. Okay. Okay. Wait. Okay. The roll cake you can take here. The demonstration, it's finished. People want to take pictures, they can take pictures. And I will put thank you. I will put also a few of the chocolate decorations here. If you have questions, you can ask to me how it's made, or you can see on Instagram. I put a lot of videos for decorations. You can take there also a look. Okay, thank you very much.